Marketing to business owners is on easy mode in 2025. If you have an offer that is relevant to your ideal customer, which most people who have a business because somebody needs it, then you can completely automate the process of reaching out and booking them for appointments, sales calls, whatever it is. I do this for my clients in enterprise, startups, capital advisory through AI-powered cold email. And in this video, I'm going to walk through the complete system that I use that's built pipelines worth millions for my clients. But before I explain that, just think about why this works. Think about back in the day when you had to find clientele for your business. You would go and knock on doors. You might cold call. You might go to networking events. You might attend seminars. You had to really get out on the street and pound the pavement. The issue with all of those things is that most of those are not scalable. How many doors can you knock in a day? How many calls can you make in a day? Not enough. Seminars are expensive. And again, how many people can you talk to in a day? And there's even Facebook ads today. There's always been online ads, but who knows how to operate that? You already have a business operating your business. Are you just suddenly going to become a pro in doing meta ads and doing Google ads? Most people have to go and find an agency. But here's the thing, whether you're paying for an agency or you're doing it yourself, you are going to have to spend money on just seeing if it works. You get a 50-50 shot with an agency. You're pretty much SOL if you're doing it on your own. So what are your options? The hard reality is that businesses either grind it out and figure it out on their own, and it's usually by happenstance, or they literally have so much word of mouth or referral traffic that it just carries them over. And there's frankly a lot of enterprises that even today exist on purely word of mouth or referrals. Think about any major consulting firm. Do you see ads from McKinsey or Accenture? No, because they don't need to put out ads. They have deep relationships with some of these major companies. They never have to worry about going and advertising. They just continue selling business in the same place. Anyway, I digress. If you're a new business owner or you're any business owner and you're trying to scale your company, then your options are kind of limited here. Really, there is a criteria that you should use when determining what marketing vehicle you should be applying in your business. The first thing that you want is something that is cheap. You cannot afford to go and spend money on a Super Bowl ad or on a bus ad, or even just to go and learn Facebook ads, to give $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 to an algorithm so that it can learn for a month. It just sounds insane. And the people that are operating it, a lot of the times, if you don't know what to look for, you can't figure out if they are doing it well or not. You need something that is scalable, where one of your inputs can get to a lot more outputs. Ads is actually a pretty good example of this because you can put out one campaign and just ramp up the budget, and suddenly you're getting to thousands more people just because you put in more money. It's one campaign, it's the same campaign, but it gets out to many more people. The difference being with cold calling, you can't just pick up like 10 phones and start talking to 10 people at the same time. And the last one is that it needs to be low lift or fast. What I mean is it can't take forever to learn and apply. You can't just become a Facebook ads expert overnight. That's not very low lift. You also can't really become like a cold calling expert overnight. It's going to take you some time to get good at it, and you're going to have to kind of just grind it if you want to get good at cold calls, although they are effective. But really, you want something that you can almost instantly get results with. Now, if you're a business owner, you probably sit here and think like, yeah, that's great. Something that's cheap, scalable, easy to learn. Like, why wouldn't everybody do that? And while it's pretty obvious, you'd be surprised at how many business owners still do all the other stuff instead of going for those criteria. If you're a business owner, you probably know people that basically get all of their business from word of mouth or referrals, but then they go and spend on these like advertising ideas, and they're kind of just like half in, half out, like doing some partnership with someone or sponsoring a post on Instagram or doing something random that you're like, dude, that would never work. But frankly, most people realize it won't work and they just don't know where to spend the money. So criteria like that is helpful. Cheap, fast, scalable. And the thing is, most business owners know, like, we need to market. We just don't know how to market. Where do you spend the money marketing? How do we get to our ideal customers? This is exactly the reason why I got into cold email and why it fuels my businesses today and for my clients. The reason I know this works is because when I first got into the entrepreneurship game, I did everything. I did web design, I did copywriting, I sold SaaS products, I made AI agents. And every single time I went to go prospect for clients, I got my clients in the exact same way. I would go and I would find a database full of the people that I wanted to talk to. And then I would go and I would send them an email campaign. And I used to do it at very, very low volumes. I would do them at maybe I used to have 1 or 2 mailboxes that I would send from. I would send 15 or 30 emails a day. And I got clients even just doing that. But what I realized is that every time I needed to get a client for my business, I did the exact same thing. I went and used email. The reason I used email is because I didn't want to make cold calls. I knew that I could send one campaign and it would get to a bunch of people on autopilot. As we speak, I have email campaigns that are sending right now. It's low lift, it's cheap, and it's scalable. How much did it cost you to send an email? I'm not saying that there's no costs involved, but there are less costs than spending $50 or $100 a day for a month so that your algorithm on Facebook can learn. So I learned how to run email campaigns so that I could market my own businesses. And then I realized that learning how to market my businesses might be the most important thing a business could have. That's why I started doing this, because it actually works. The high level process is this. When you want to send at scale, like I do, I'll usually send anywhere from 10 to 50,000 emails per month per client. We will buy a bunch of domains. Domains are the blah, blah, blah.com. It might be yourcompany.com, because we won't send from your actual company domain. We'll send from getyourcompany.com or tryyourcompany.com. Then we'll create mailboxes attached to each of those domains. The reason being, if one of those domains gets burned because of bad sending practices, note, this has never really happened to me, but if for some reason something went wrong, you don't want the entire domain to get burnt. I'll go ahead, I'll set up those mailboxes, everything from the DNS setup, all of the warm up that goes into it, the technical setup. I'll go and set up all the sending infrastructure so that we can send in mass. And then it just comes down to identifying your ICP using AI, which is as simple as taking your idea, your product or service, putting it into AI, explaining exactly what it does and who it's supposed to serve, and then asking it who could benefit from this. And then you could ask it more questions. Realistically, who's got the budget for this? Who's too small for this? Who's too big for this? Who are the people I should start with? Rank it, give me criteria. Just have a conversation with it and help it prioritize. You want to get down to maybe one, maybe two industries that you want to target first. Then you take those industries and you look for databases that have businesses that fit this categorization. You might use Apollo, you might use D7 Lead Finder, Store Leads. There's a bunch of databases online you can use. You'll download that list, you'll take that list and you'll put it into your campaign sequencer and you'll write copy. So basically the copy has to be some version of, hey there, we help businesses do blank with your mechanism. Would you be interested in doing that for you? And then you might have a case study at the bottom. You could do like, PS, we were able to do X for Y business. And then the beautiful thing is that you can literally put in thousands of leads, start the campaign, and go to sleep. And you are on autopilot targeting your ideal customers overnight. You just wake up and go and answer the people that want to talk to you over email. It can literally be that easy. I did this with a commercial real estate client. They were a capital advisory. They do private lending, basically. If you are a developer and you need funding for your development, then they're the people you go to. So they came to me because they were doing all of the old stuff. They were doing cold calling. They were sending emails one-on-one. They were going to networking events. And they were like, we don't know where the business comes from. We kind of just get it from word of mouth or referrals, or it just kind of happens sporadically. We don't really have a pipeline. And I said, where are your clients now? Where is your ICP, your ideal customer profile? Where do they live? Where do they exist? Is there a database that has them? They had a database. They said that they would typically be doing permitting and they were looking for funding when they're in this stage. And I said, great. If we could email every single one of them, do you think that we would probably get some customers? And they said, yeah, definitely. So I said, cool, we're going to do exactly that. We pulled the database. I wrote the copy. I set up the campaigns. I made all of the mailboxes set up technically right, put them in the sequencer. And within the first 3 weeks of sending, we had brought in $60 million of capital demand. And this is not just like $60 million worth of developments that were happening that we talked to the guy. These are actual bids. They don't go after every single one of these deals. Some of these deals are bad and they don't want to fund it. These are $60 million worth of deals that they put a bid in for, that they wanted to finance. Real deals. I did the same thing for a SaaS startup. They wanted to go and reach out to a really small audience and just see if their new SaaS product would be a good fit for them. So I created a campaign, I set up the mailboxes, I created the copy, and we went and I got all of the leads, which at the time was just a bunch of LinkedIn profiles. I was able to enrich it all the way to getting emails. I took those emails and we launched a campaign. Within under a week, we had already gotten one sale and we had 7 other people that were interested in purchasing. This stuff works if you do it right. It's cheap, it's scalable, and it's fast. You can stand this stuff up. I can go and launch a campaign right now into any industry in the world with any offer that I want in the world. And that is the beauty of email. If I wanted to do that on Facebook or Meta, I'd have to go and get creative. I'd have to record an ad, edit it, get the copy designed, launch it on Meta, give it 30 days to get the algorithm tuned, and I'd have to do all of all that stuff, right? Cold calling is the same thing. It's 8 o'clock at night right now. I couldn't just go and start cold calling people. It wouldn't work. But I can launch a campaign and get to massive scale overnight just from email. And if you want me to do that for your business, if that's something that you were interested in doing, it's obviously not free because of the scale that we do and all of the other protections that I put in place. But if you're interested in getting your product or service out at scale to the industry that you want, then go to the description of this video. There's a link and you can schedule a call with me. We'll go ahead and scope it out. We'll see if it's a fit or not, and how I would recommend you run this campaign for yourself. We'll see if it makes sense to work together.